Blood stained the snow, and the icy wind carried whispers of exile. For most men, banishment from their homeland meant disgrace and death. But for one fiery-haired Viking, it became the spark of destiny. His temper had driven him from Norway, then from Iceland, and finally cast him into the unknown seas to the west. Yet instead of despair, he found opportunity. He discovered a new land, vast and raw, that he named Greenland, a name chosen to lure others with hope. His name was Erik the Red, and though he began as an outlaw, he became a founder, a pioneer, and the father of Leif Erikson, the Viking who would sail to North America. Erik's story is one of defiance, survival, and the relentless Viking spirit that thrived even in exile. Erik the Red was born around 950 CE in Jæren, Norway. His given name was Erik Thorvaldsson, son of Thorvald Asvaldsson, a man already marked by trouble. Thorvald had been banished from Norway for killings, forcing the family to leave their ancestral home and seek refuge in Iceland. From the very beginning, Erik's life was shaped by exile. He inherited from his father not only the burden of displacement, but also a fiery temper that would define his destiny. His hair, beard, and fierce personality earned him the nickname Erik the Red, a name that would follow him into legend. The Thorvaldsson family settled in the rugged landscapes of Iceland, a place of volcanic rock, fjords, and thin pastures. Life was harsh, and survival required strength, skill, and determination. Erik grew up learning the ways of farming, seafaring, and combat, the essential skills of Viking life. But Iceland was not a place of peace. Feuds, land disputes, and violent clashes were common. Erik quickly proved himself a strong and resourceful man, yet also quick to anger and vengeance. These qualities would both elevate him and bring disaster. Erik married Theodild Jorunnsdottir, the daughter of a powerful Icelandic family. This union brought him status and land, giving him the foundation to build his own household. With his wife, he had several children, including Leif Erikson, who would one day surpass his father's fame. Yet domestic life could not calm Erik's restless spirit or temper. Disputes with neighbors soon erupted into violence. Around the year 980, Erik became embroiled in a feud after his slaves accidentally triggered a landslide that damaged a neighbor's property. Retaliation followed, and soon Erik killed several men. This act forced him into exile for 3 years, a sentence typical in Icelandic law for manslaughter or feuds. But exile did not tame Erik. Instead, it pushed him further west into uncharted waters, following whispers of land beyond Iceland. Erik sailed into the icy Atlantic, navigating dangerous seas and drifting icebergs. Beyond the horizon, he found a vast land of fjords, glaciers, and green valleys. This was Greenland. He spent the years of his exile exploring its coasts, mapping its inlets, and searching for places where settlers might survive. When his exile ended, Erik returned to Iceland with tales of the new land. He called it Greenland, claiming that men would be more eager to go there if the land had a good name. It was a clever stroke of marketing, highlighting Erik's cunning as much as his courage. In 985, Erik organized a great expedition to colonize Greenland. Around 25 ships set sail, but only 14 completed the treacherous journey. Despite the losses, the survivors established 2 main settlements, the Eastern Settlement and the Western Settlement, both near present-day southern Greenland. Erik became the leader of this colony, holding authority as its founder. His estate at Brattahlid in the Eastern Settlement became the center of Norse life in Greenland. Life in Greenland was brutal. The growing season was short, winters were long, and survival depended on resourcefulness. Settlers raised cattle, sheep, and goats, hunted seals and caribou, and traded walrus ivory and furs with Europe. Despite the challenges, Erik's colony thrived. Greenland became a symbol of Viking resilience, a society carved from the edge of the known world. Though Erik had built a new world, his reputation for violence and hot temper never faded. The sagas describe him as a man both admired and feared, charismatic, ambitious, and strong-willed, yet quick to kill when provoked. His leadership was not based solely on diplomacy, but on the respect that came from strength, wealth, and daring. To many, he embodied the Viking spirit, fierce, unyielding, and unwilling to bow to misfortune. In the year 1000, Erik's son Leif returned from Norway, having converted to Christianity under King Olaf Tryggvason. Leif sought to introduce the faith to Greenland, and his mother, Theodild, quickly embraced it. She built a small church at Brattahlid, making it the first Christian church in the Americas. Erik, however, resisted. He clung to the Old Norse gods, refusing to abandon the traditions that had carried him through exile and discovery. This created a division within his family, with Theodild refusing to share his bed after her conversion. While Erik never sailed to North America himself, his legacy shaped the voyages that followed. His son Leif Erikson embarked on the journey that would take him to Vinland, believed to be Newfoundland, making him the first European to set foot on the continent. According to some sagas, Erik had intended to lead the voyage but was injured after falling from his horse, leaving Leif to take command. Thus, by fate or accident, Erik's son inherited the next step of Viking exploration. Erik the Red's later years were spent in Greenland, where he remained a central figure of the colony. He lived at Brattahlid, managing his estate and watching his children carry forward his legacy. He died around 1003 CE, likely of an epidemic that struck Greenland at the time. His death marked the end of an era, but left behind a thriving colony and a family whose fame would echo for centuries. Facts about Erik the Red. Erik earned his nickname the Red because of his fiery hair and beard. Both Erik and his father were exiled for manslaughter, making exile a family tradition. Erik gave Greenland its name as a marketing ploy to attract settlers. His wife, Theodild, built the first Christian church in the Americas. Erik's son, Leif Erikson, discovered North America around 1000 CE. Erik's estate, Brattahlid, was one of the most important Viking sites in Greenland. Only about half of the ships Erik led to Greenland survived the journey. Erik never converted to Christianity, remaining faithful to Norse gods until death. His descendants remained in Greenland for centuries after his death. Modern archaeologists have excavated Brattahlid, uncovering ruins of Erik's longhouse and Theodild's church. Erik the Red's life was one of constant exile and renewal. Cast out of Norway, then Iceland, he refused to accept defeat. Instead, he turned punishment into possibility, forging a new homeland where others saw only icy wasteland. His fiery temper brought both ruin and greatness. Without it, he might never have left Iceland. Without it, Greenland might never have been settled. His story reminds us that flaws can fuel destiny, and sometimes the qualities that bring downfall also spark discovery. Erik the Red did not merely survive exile. He turned it into opportunity, creating a colony that endured for centuries. He was a founder, a pioneer, and a father of explorers. His spirit lived on through his son Leif, who carried the Viking torch to North America. In the frozen valleys of Greenland, one can still imagine Erik the Red standing tall against the wind, his red beard blazing in the snow, defying the world that cast him out and proving that no exile could silence a Viking heart.